morning, Hampton Roads. We're here for another episode of Hampton Roads Weekly, where we speak to community leaders about different community events as well as nonprofit organizations. This morning, I have Miss Tess and Miss Patty here joining me for the Shining Light Homes. How are you? Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Now, for our listeners that aren't aware, what is the Shining Light Homes? Like, what do you all do here in the Hampton Roads community?
Well, we are advocates for single mothers. We help support moms. We have a lot of single mothers that are having a hard time being able to maintain being a single mother, and that what eventually happens is they become homeless. Or they're borrowing their grandmother's or their mother's living room couch, and they have a time clock on how fast they can move out. And sometimes being a single mother and having a baby, it becomes difficult for them to get it all together before they end up finding that they're having to be pushed out into the street or trying to find another place that they can borrow a couch or a spare bedroom from someone else. Sometimes they're literally dropped on the street corner, and then they're looking for someone to help them out. So Shining Light Homes is there. We help support them. What we want to do eventually is have our own transitional home where we can just bring them in, help guide them to the next step. We have a home in mind that we're interested in, but of course we are, doing fundraisings and trying to get the funding that we need so we can get it. But in the meantime, what we're doing is trying to keep the moms in the place that they're in. Or if they end up calling us from a street corner, we end up taking some money and we put them in a hotel and keep them there until we can find a place for them to go. And that's what we've been doing, along with many other things. Tess can probably shine on that one a little bit. Go ahead, Tess.
Yes, most times when they call, they either, a couple of days, before they get the food stamps, so they have no food in the house. There's no formula for their babies, so we'll go out shopping and, bring food for them and, give them enough so that way. But, it will last until when they get the food stamps. We take them to doctor's appointments because they don't have transportation, to go there. Sometimes what you come across a lot too, they have no form of ID. So, we take them down to the DMV to get identification, because without that too, some of them you cannot even go and go to social services for any help because you need ID. So while we're waiting for our funding to get our home, that's what we've basically been doing is, being advocates for them in the sense that, if we have to go, I had to go and speak to a great-grandmother saying, hey, she's out on the streets, just give her grace one more time and let her stay here. She's pregnant and she has a little one. So we advocate and try to keep them in there, and then we work with them in whatever way we need to get them, in a place of their own, or we refer them to another organization that is better to equip to handle them at the time. So we do the best we can for right now. We don't lack donations in terms of stuff. We have lots of clothes and, food. We have that. We need
cribs
really,
and stuff. When people have been generous with material things, what we need is money.
Right.
Because I feel sad when I get a phone call and I can't help them in a way that they really need, and that's a place to live. And so, and that's why I desperately want to get this home. We have one-eyed, and it's perfect. But, until we get there, we're doing the very best we can right now. We're trying to keep them in their home. And, we've even had to go to court cases with them.
Right, yeah.
We've gone to court with them. They just want somebody to hold their hand while they're doing some of these scary things. It's scary going into a court. You're by yourself. It's scary.
And a lot of them move from place to place, so they forget they have their court appointments. They get sent to the old address, so they remember. Then you don't know. Then there's a warrant out for their arrest because they missed their.
And they have no car with all this stuff. That's one of the things with single moms. There's 4 things that a single mother needs. She needs reliable transportation. She needs a car. She needs a babysitter that is reliable
Definitely.
and affordable. She needs a job that pays money, and she needs a place to live. And any one of those things break, they're broken. They're on, out there on a shoestring, and so we're there trying to walk them through. And that's what we want to do once we get this home, is to be able to see where they're at and move them to the next step. Okay, what do you need now? Do you need start getting some education? Okay, then let's start looking at what we can do to help you get an education. If it means you've already got schooling, but you don't have transportation, you can't get around very well without a transportation. Then we look to see how we can help them get transportation. If they have transportation, then what is it? Is it a job that you're trying to find? Let's see how we can help you get a job. And these are the types of things. They have to have all of those things. If they don't have it, then they're broken. I mean, I was a single mother, and I know how difficult that was, which is why I'm sitting here right now with this mission and vision and dream to help other mothers. I want to give back because I know how it was, and I overcame it. And and Tess too. I mean,
Right, yeah. So, and I lived in a transitional living home, so I know, so I've experienced it, and it really does work if you utilize all the resources. So, and in the Hampton Road area, there's only a handful of, transitional homes. And most of them, the moms that we come across, they don't even meet the criteria because they're too old.
Right.
They're older, so, they really literally don't have anywhere to go.
right.
And it's really, really sad.
It's sad when you hear. I just had an email from a mom that was pregnant, and she was in her grandmother's house, and her grandmother wanted her out. Just like that. Wanted her out, wanted her gone. Now, I doubt that she was, giving her a problem, but, sometimes these things happen. But in this particular situation, I don't think that was it. I spoke to her, and she was telling me that, her mother is struggling with her own issues, and she can't deal with another person in the house. I had another mother that was borrowing her mother's living room, and she had a little baby that was on oxygen, and she had to stay someplace with her baby. She didn't have a house or an apartment or anywhere to go, and she was asking me to help her. We did find a place for her up in Yorktown to go, and we were so thankful that she was there. But and I'm happy that we got to help in some way, but I would have loved to have had her come into my house.
Now, why do you think, or why do you know there aren't so many transitional homes for such families like this here in the Hampton Roads area?
I don't really know,
Well, I mean, from the list that we have, for the few that we do know of, because we do have our resource.
they're all full.
And most of them is full, and most of them really deal with 18. I think 18 is about the oldest age, right? In terms of the ones and a lot of them are actually full. That is true. So there is a higher demand for these homes, than actually have the homes. That we have a lot of moms out there who don't have anywhere to go, but we don't have a lot of homes to send them to.
Right.
Now, it doesn't mean that when we get our home, that we're still not going to have that issue. But, I have a feeling it's always going to be that way. But at least it will be one more home there.
Right.
And our goal is to have homes all through Hampton Roads.
Yeah.
Because it is truly needed.
Yeah, it is. I get phone calls and emails weekly. And, it breaks my heart that there's so many single moms that need help. And they're trying to, what gets to me is these moms are courageous. The fact that they chose life. They want to have their baby. They want to keep it. Why can't we help them so they can raise a child so it can be successful? We care for the mother, but we also care for the life that they're going to be bringing that child up into. So we want their life to be successful. We want that mother's life to be successful so that her children will benefit from it. And so that's where Shining Light Homes. Initially, I was going to have just one home, and God told me, no, this is really going to be more than one home. This is a bigger thing than just one, which is why I changed it to be Shining Light Homes, not Shining Light House or Patty's house or something like that, or Tessa's house. But it's many houses, it's homes. And, because being a single mother, once I finally got my real job, the one that had health insurance and life insurance, and I was going to work a 9-to-5 job, and I was actually making money, and I was taking care of my daughter. Ever since that time, I worked at the Virginian Pilot at that time, and they were very much into the United Way. And so I would give to the United Way. Of course, there was nothing on there that said homes for single mothers. So I put it in the other category, and I said, checked off other, and I said homes for single mothers. And I did that for 22 years. I gave to the United Way for single mothers. And so the stream just kept building up and building up. Needless to say, I had no idea that one day I'd be sitting here having an interview with you, or even trying to do anything like this, until God placed it on my heart that it was more than just giving to someone else. It was for me to do it.
I was just about to ask, how does this add to your personal testimonies and wanting to give back and be so passionate about leaving a lasting impact here in the area?
Well, I'll tell you what, we all have a purpose in life. And, when you're younger, it takes a while for you actually realize that you're not just on this world just to be there.
Right.
That when you're there, that God has placed you there, and He's placed you for a specific purpose. And that our trials and tribulations is actually really getting us towards fulfilling that purpose. But when you're in it, you don't see it.
Right.
It's when you get out of it, and you could sit back and you could look at it and rethink and be like, oh, wow, well, maybe that's why. And for both of us, it's just what it is. Because after I went through the transitional living home and I just went about my merry way, I didn't really give much thought about it. But somewhere down the line, it hit me, and I was like, you know what? You have to give back. You have to give back. You have to share your experience with someone else, because you're not the only one experiencing it. There's a lot of people that experience it. Their experiences are different, but it's all pretty much the same thing. So it's just about giving back. So my purpose right now is giving back, is helping these moms find their purpose in their life, because we all have it.
Right. Exactly. That definitely is, God laid it on my heart. I knew that my purpose is this. I saw now that I can look back, I saw where God was moving in my life as a single mother. And I had no idea, just like Tessa was saying, I had no idea that was God. I always thought it was me, but once I got past it all, I could see now that, that was God there. That was God doing that. I didn't know that was Him. And then I realized, wow, God was there the whole time. Here I am struggling, trying to make a living, trying to, keep my head above water, not realizing the whole time that God was there. And I want them to know, I want my single mothers to know that God is with them, and He sees them, He hears them, He knows what's going on. It's important that they know.
Even through the trials and tribulations, because it's hard to see it when you're
going
down,
when you're in the middle of it.
It's really, really hard to see it. But He's there. He's there. And I'll tell you what, because this ministry is truly a God thing. That's what we always say. Because every way, even just the way Patty and I met, everything just came together effortless.
Right. Even this interview.
Yep.
Having that email come out of nowhere, Patty, hey, we saw Shining Light Homes. We'd love to talk to you about it. That was nothing that I pursued. Even this interview was nothing I pursued. So I agree, and I believe that this interview, even meeting Deanna, is truly a God thing.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I'm grateful to know, because, we've been praying about it.
Yep.
I mean, Tess, she's an accountant, and she comes and she hears about, somebody wanting to start a home. Oh, she's all over it. She wants to find out. Well, and then I get we connect, and then she tells me, and I was like trying to find people who I wanted to be on my nonprofit board, and she says, well, her husband and her were trying to come up with a name for her business, or, the slogan or whatever.
Right.
And it was shining a light
Yep. So
on your finances.
Yep.
And I thought that was like,
homes.
I was like, oh, well, I want to shine a light
Yep, and that's
to
what I
these
was wanting
moms'
to do.
lives and let them know that, it's okay. It will be all right. You'll get through this.
And that's all this, and that's our ultimate message is that it's okay. It's hard right now. It seems like you'll never get out of it, but you will. Just have faith and just know that somebody is there, because right now they do feel all alone, even if they really are. But when you're in the moment, who is God? God, I don't know God, because why am I in this? And that's how they feel. So when you have somebody who comes along and say, hey, we've been there, we've done it, we know how it is, you are not alone.
Right.
Just telling them that, just listening to them, hugging them. I mean, just being
and
there with
that's
them.
what we want to do. We want
It
to
just
put our
it
arms
makes a huge
around them
difference.
and let them know that they're not alone. We're here. We'll help you. We'll be the hands and feet of God and do what it needs to be done to help you get into a better life, whatever that is, and that's really our mission and vision.
Now, what are some events that you all have put on here in the area, and what do you plan to do for the upcoming year?
Well, we're working through all those different things right now. We are looking at a golf tournament that's going to be happening in Suffolk. I can't think of the name of the park that it's going to be at. Sleepy Hole Park, Sleepy Hole Golf Course. And then we also have somebody that came into our life, and these a Christian Motorcycle Association wants to ride for us, and so they're going to be doing a little fundraiser for us. So we're grateful. We're grateful for anything that we get. I appreciate all of that. We're going to be looking for sponsors and all for the golf tournament. So I'm hoping that businesses will come alongside us, because we're going to need to have some sponsors. I'm not real familiar with how that's going. I've got, a perfect board member that's overseeing that,
Right.
and she's going to be trying to reach. But if people want to email me, they can. Patty at shininglighthomes.org. They can email me, and I'll be more than happy to hook them up. If they want to find out more about us, they can look at our website, www.shininglighthomes.org. They'll see, some pictures that we have over there. We're still working on our website. It takes time and it takes money, but we're grateful for where we are right now. But we're looking, to expand, and we just want the Hampton Roads area to know that, we love single mothers. And if you love single mothers, because they need help. I mean, they're out there, and, a lot of times the parents, aren't really, coming alongside them like they should or they could or can really. And then, the fathers, sometimes these moms get married, and then as soon as they're married to the dad of the baby, something happens and it falls apart, and then they're by themselves, and they're holding the bag, and the dad's not paying child support or whatever it is, and it becomes, it makes it so they're, borderline poverty level. We want them to get out of that. We want them to have a better life.
Now, how would you like to see this grow? Where do you see Shining Light Homes going in the next 5 years?
Well, we've already sort of answered that, but we'll say it again. We will have a home in every city of Hampton Roads. I'm talking even in Hampton and Newport News. God already showed me the vision, and I see it also spreading down the East Coast and across, and that's why it's called Shining Light Homes. I mean, we're homes, we're shining a light on the lives of single mothers and their babies.
Now, where are you guys located?
We're located right now in Chesapeake. I hope to have a home in Portsmouth. That's the ultimate, that we're just waiting, basically for that price of the home to reduce or, something, happen and, it's given to us somehow. We don't really know. We don't have, the funding to purchase and, but I know, God's already told me that house is mine. I saw it. He made it plain. I mean, he couldn't have said it any plainer. He told me that was mine and, and I'm, giving them the glory and I'm holding them to it, that's my home. And so, I'm waiting for that one, but, we're still investigating and looking at others. But like I said, everything requires money, unfortunately. So we're just going to do what we're doing, and we're going to do the best of what we can with what we have.
Right. So right now we basically go, we eat at Patty's house for a board meeting or another board member. So we pretty much stay in the Chesapeake area for our meeting. So we need office space, which could also be used, for training, because we do want to start training, the girls. I know Patty had this Bible study, the 21 principles
of a healthy single mother.
That we want to start that Bible study.
I realized, that being a single mother and all the tragedy and all the rejection and, I felt, isolated and alone. Well, I want to talk about that with these girls. And it's sometimes, you carry around a lot of hurt. And, I want to help those moms become free of that.
That is true.
Because a lot of times when you feel rejected or you feel small,
you're
anybody,
right?
You're insignificant, right? And
Mm-hmm.
because of that, I want them to be free of that, so that they can definitely walk in their gifting and their calling by God.
Right.
And you can't do it. You'll end up, going off your path and doing other things that maybe are not really what you're supposed to be doing. And
right.
Because you're carrying on a hurt, or make your life a lot harder because, you're lashing out at people that because of your own hurts. And so we want to help moms to be free of that kind of stuff.
And that is true. And we do come across that a lot. But these moms are just so hurt from their own experiences that they take it out on the family members who do try to help them.
Right.
So they sort of like burn their bridges in that aspect. So that's where we have to just step in and just say, just give them grace. That's all we ask. Just give them grace.
And Tess is in the process of developing a financial class so that we can help them with their finances, learn how to balance a budget, their checkbook. Develop a budget. If it requires cleaning up of your credit, we want to work with you to clean your credit up. And then we're just going to progress into all the different types and aspects of what we want to do to help a mother become successful until we get the house.
So what other types of classes do you provide?
This is it, right? These are what we're doing right now.
A lot of it really is dependent. The house is really crucial for us.
Yeah, it is.
Because, our classes will be tailored to the needs of the moms that we have in there. So in general, we know we want to do money management.
Yes.
We know we want to do that Bible study.
Yeah.
We're going to have vocational training.
Yes.
So we have
job
the house,
skills.
we have, job skills,
Job
interviewing
interviewing.
skills.
Creating a resume.
Right. Really just making them whole.
Yeah.
Really just making them whole.
Yeah, and teaching them, how to be successful and be able to walk out what they're called to do, and just and
that's the ultimate goal is for them to fulfill their purpose in life.
Right.
And in that they paid forward and they do the same for somebody else.
Right, and at the same time, of course, their children, being free from any kind of abandonment issues or rejection issues. They won't be taking out that kind of stuff on their children.
Right.
And their children will be, able to become productive citizens because we're helping them to overcome these obstacles. Our home is definitely, what we want and what we really need. But until then, we're going to find places to conduct these classes at. But we were grateful. I'm hoping that, with this interview and that other people will feel the passion. And,
Definitely. They will.
We will connect with that right person, because I know there's
people
the right
out
people.
there. I know there's people out there, even former single mothers. They've got to want to help another single mom somewhere, and or in other church organizations or other community type people, or
I'm sure they will hear your
businesses
message.
or anybody. We love our moms. I'm telling you, we do. We love our mothers. We love them to death, and we love their little babies, and we celebrate with them. Every success they have, we celebrate. I love it because I don't know, I get a sense of satisfaction, but then I also feel like I'm sharing love with them. And, it's rewarding.
And it's genuine.
Yeah, they know it, too. That, I just saw Mom this past week, and she goes, Miss Patty, I miss you coming over and taking me places and go and do stuff. I said,
which she will do. Go shopping with them, take them out to eat. She will.
I did, and they're
yeah.
missing. That's what she said. That's what she said. So can we do that again? And I said, okay, we can do it again. I said, we need to work on these windows in your house. And so now we're looking about how we can make some curtains so that we make her house look pretty, and she'll be proud when she walks in her door and she sees her pretty place. She's in her new place, and now, we're trying to make it pretty. We've even received donations of furniture, and we've filled a single mom's living room that she had nothing in there to sit on, nothing, and then we filled her complete living room up, and I was so grateful to my church, Vision Church. They came out and helped me take this stuff in the room, and I was just so grateful to them for doing that for us, and now,
really being next to us, because they're really about our biggest supporter right now.
Right.
Vision Church is like right next to us, so we really appreciate
and
all the
Greenbrier.
assistance that we're getting for them.
They're helping and donating to our cause monthly. They're actually giving us some money, and that's really helped us out. It's great.
So we just need more partners, because it takes a village.
Right.
It takes a village. We cannot do it all on our own. So I say the more the merrier.
Yeah.
And where can they go to get more information in order to help build this community with you all?
If they want that, like I said, they can go to www.shininglighthomes.org, where they can email me at patty@shininglighthomes.org. info@shininglighthomes.org. They can also call me. They'll see my phone number on the website, and they can give me a call there.
Yeah, we're also on Facebook.
Yeah, we're on Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook page as well.
Yeah,
so.
and they can send me a message there, and I'll reach out. And I get moms there as well. I have one right now that I need to deliver a crib to, and she's borrowing somebody's living room, same thing, but she doesn't have anything for a baby to lay in, so she's reached out to me, and she's got a little bit of clothes, and so I'm working to get that delivered. We need volunteers, people to come alongside us and help us deliver this stuff.
I'm sure
we have a lot
plenty.
of stuff, but we don't have volunteers to help deliver it.
Yeah,
so
not
Patty's
enough.
always running around.
I'm doing the running
stuff.
around.
Yeah.
So if you see a Shining Light Homes van around town, there's two of us, two vans running around. Tess, she ain't gonna take that sign off her van for nothing, and I have my van, my minivan that I do to and I use that for transporting the girls to different places. And even events to bless them, just to give them something to do. We take them out. I guess we've covered it all.
I think we did.
Yes.
And I do appreciate. It's amazing, because it's deep down in our hearts. My sister said, "Just talk what's in your heart."
Yeah.
And I said,
and you can
"Okay,
see that.
You're right." So that's what we did.
Well, thank you, ladies, for coming in. Are there any lasting words you would like to leave with our listeners?
Keep us in our prayers. Whatever way you can assist us, please do. Single moms need our help. And, you know, and it's a domino effect. Well, you help one person, they help somewhere else. So,
Right.
you know, it's like Matthew West have a song that says, you know, he sees everything's going around and he asking God, like, where are you? And he was like, well, that's why we created you. So he
Right.
created us to help each other. You know, so that's what we have to do. So, you know, whatever way, for me, it's as long as you're helping someone to be good.
Yeah.
We really are. So,
Yeah.
you know, and for the single moms out there, just keep the faith, you know.
Yeah.
Just, you know, somebody's there with you all the time, even if when you don't believe that it is. It may seem hard right now, but it's only for a short period of time.
I just say that we love moms. We love our single moms and their children. We want them to know it.
If you would like to be a guest on our show, please contact